Hey guys, this is Nathan from RunDreamAchieve.com. Today's video we're going to be talking about when to run for time versus distance. A lot of athletes, including myself over the years, a lot of times we're focusing on time. We're trying to, we're trying to run a specific time for a specific workout. A lot of times when I was preparing for my races, especially for the half marathon and marathon, I knew I was ready when I could do 6 1-mile repetitions under 4 minutes and 55 seconds per mile rep on the track with a 2-minute rest in between. So there's times when you want to focus on time, especially if you're training anaerobically and you're trying to run a specific workout in a specific time. When you're wanting to run distance and you're wanting to focus more on your distance rather than the time, over the years and the way I train, I focused more on distance when it was more about easy days. If I had an easy long run, like I talk about in other videos, if you want to run faster at the mile distance all the way up to the marathon distance, you want to vary up the paces of your long runs. You don't just want to run long, slow, easy long runs every single weekend. You'll become a very strong, long, slow, easy distance runner or middle distance runner if that's what you do. Distance is very important. You want to build your endurance up. So running long, slow distance once per week is good, but it's very, very good if you alternate running long, slow, and easy one weekend, followed by running very hard or varying up the paces of your long run the following weekend. But when it comes to, in terms of when to run for time versus distance, obviously when to run for time is a race, okay? If you're trying to race or you're trying to do a time trial on training, then of course you're trying to go for a specific effort, a specific pace, and you're trying to run a specific time, whether you're trying to do a 5-mile tempo in a particular time, or you're trying to run a half marathon under 90 minutes. Those are the times where you really need to be focusing on time. Any type of hard anaerobic workout where you're aiming to stress your heart for a specific duration, you want to be focusing on that time. And you also have to know that you have to also allot time for your body to adapt to the hard anaerobic workouts you're doing. There's a physiological boost that happens after every hard workout, but also, and it's a concept called supercompensation. You can Google the term, but basically what happens is your body is extremely weak after a hard workout, and it's even weaker than prior to the start of the workout. So, but at the same time, if you jog or you give yourself a 48-hour period of time after that hard workout, your body bounces back, and that's why it's a supercompensation effect, where your body is extremely weak after the hard workout, and then it bounces back to 2 to 3 times as strong after that hard workout. But to get that supercompensation effect to take place, you absolutely must take the recovery phase of your training seriously. Okay, I cannot stress this enough. If you want to take your running to the next level in 2021, or if you're watching this video, many years from now, if you want to become an average to good athlete to a great athlete, pay attention to your easy recovery days, because I guarantee you your competition is still running too fast on those easy days. And it took me several years to get this right. I was probably just like you or any other athlete. A lot of other athletes, we focus on volume and we think that more work, harder work is the answer, when hard work is generally not the answer. It's smarter work. It's training smarter, using leverage, doing more with less. And when I think about this question of when to run for time versus distance, it makes me think back to the several years of doing it the wrong way. And you run for time when it's a race. You run for time when you're trying to do 2 to 3 2-mile repetitions on the track in a particular time. Maybe that's 16 minutes per rep. And you're wanting to give yourself a specific amount of time of recovery between each one of those sets. Maybe it's 5 minutes or 6 minutes. You want to focus on time when you're training anaerobically. You want to focus more on distance if you're training mainly aerobically. Now, it can still be anaerobic, so you can still focus on distance. So say you want to do a 32K run, and maybe you want to run the first, you can mix it up. Maybe the first 10 the first 16 kilometers of that race or that workout, you want to run at 6-minute mile pace, or maybe around 5:10 per kilometer pace, and then run the last 16 kilometers nice and relaxed. And then you focus more on the effort, but you're also focusing on, okay, I want to finish this 32 kilometer distance. I'm focusing on the distance, but I'm also focusing on a specific amount of a portion of this workout that I want to hit in a specific time. So it just comes down to what are your particular goals as you're preparing for your races. You train for time when you're with a group of athletes as well, and you all have a common goal in mind. I'm a big believer in teamwork, and I believe that when you're training in teams, that's why you watch all the best distance runners from Ethiopia and Kenya. They train in big packs because they know, you can jump behind a couple athletes and save yourself a percentage of effort as well. So they know that, and they also mix up training with each other, where some athletes will push the pace for a certain amount of time, and you sit back and relax, and then you jump up and you do the same for them. So they have a combination of training time versus distance as well. So you definitely want to train for time when you're training for those harder anaerobic efforts, when you're trying to run a specific time or specific distance at a specific pace. Okay, you focus on distance more so when you're wanting to build that endurance up. You're wanting to gain that motivation of saying, okay, I can now go out and do a 20-mile run without stopping, and not only I can do the distance and run easy for 20 miles, but I can also go out and focus on time, where I run a percentage of that 20-mile long run, say 10 to 12 miles of that long run, at 15 seconds under my goal half marathon pace or my goal marathon pace. And then I can just relax and finish the rest of the run without any problems whatsoever. So when you run whether you're training for time or you're training for distance, you're trying to get a result at the end of the day. So you need to focus on the other areas that are going to make you a great athlete. You need to focus on your nutrition. You need to focus on paying attention to your nutrients and minerals that are in your diet. Like I talked about in other videos, it's very easy to become iron deficient. Foot strike hemolysis is basically where every time your foot hits the ground, the red blood cells underneath your foot are bursting each time that happens. So especially when you're training in hot conditions as well, and humid conditions, we burn, we lose a lot of iron from our sweat as well, and perspiration. So paying attention to those things. A lot of times you can be running low on a mineral or a nutrient and not even know it. And you may have all the motivation and drive and focus in the world, but because you're running low on that particular nutrient or mineral, you're going to be performing very poor. And unless you know to go and get a blood test or to talk to somebody about this, you're going to really second guess yourself. So you need to keep those things in mind if you're wanting to go from being an average athlete to a great athlete. Study what the best middle to long distance runners are doing, but even more so, study how they think. Great athletes are willing to put in the work for many years. I've known so many great athletes. I've known even great athletes that quit far too early and probably would have achieved far more in their chosen event had they just stuck with it. I've known a lot of average and good middle to long distance runners who definitely had the capability to be great at what they did, but they just either didn't have, and it's not for everybody too as well. They're athletes that just, their focus isn't to become professional athletes. And granted, that's not for everybody. Some athletes just want to be the best possible athlete they can be. Some athletes just want to run just for fun and just for general fitness, which I have a huge respect for as well. Those athletes that are just trying to go out and run their first 5K or running their first marathon, respect to you all for wanting to do that, because at the end of the day, it's about just taking care of your body and being able to enjoy effort. But it does become more technical the faster you're trying to run. So keep these things in mind when you're thinking about time versus distance. If you're training for time, you're obviously somebody that's trying to go after a specific effort and being able to sustain that pace and not slowing down as much as your competition. You want to be able to sustain pace and even pick up the pace in the latter stages of your race when your competition's slowing down. So focus on time then. Focus more on distance when you're trying to build your endurance, and when you're doing your recovery days, just focus on time on your feet and distance. Focus on, more so if you know the duration or the length of your course, take off the watch, especially on those easy days. Just focus on the distance. Don't focus so much on time. Don't focus on the pace and how hard you're running. Leave those particular efforts and that type of mindset for your hard days, for those track sessions when you're running at your VO2 max, and when you're running so fast you can't clear the lactic acid because it's building up so fast. But because you're doing that, you're training at paces that are so much faster than your goal race pace, and you're also being disciplined enough to slow down when it counts, you're going to go from being an average athlete to a phenomenal, superior, great athlete because you're doing that. That's what the best distance runners I've trained with over the years, how I've duplicated their work habits, and how I eventually ran a 2:19 marathon, made 2 World Armed Forces cross-country teams, was able to compete with and push athletes that were elite athletes that were far better than me. And I think that's very important, that you just stick with it. Don't let up. Don't give up when you feel like you want to quit. Know that what you're trying to do is difficult, and that for big goals take effort, and they will challenge you mentally and physically. So don't give up on yourself. Don't let up when you're just one race away, or maybe like a year away from achieving your goal. Okay, so keep those things in mind. Hope you guys all have a great day. Keep me in the loop and leave me comments below these videos. Let me know how you're doing. Anything I can help you out with in terms of your preparation. If there's a topic, whether it's running or outside of running, let me know. If you want me to talk about, I will definitely make a video about it. And I wish you guys all the best. Keep me posted on your training. I love hearing from you all, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.